Hey guys, it's Leanne, creator of Sisterhood Live, a live event we are putting together for female entrepreneurs April 19th to the 21st in Newport, Rhode Island. And we are doing a little interview series with all of our fantastic speakers that will be taking the stage in April. So today we are chatting with the lovely Katey Olivia Smyth, mindset and business strategist. Thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us.
You're welcome. I'm excited to chat with you too.
I'm excited to have you on stage for the first time in April.
No better reason.
I know. I'm so excited. So just to jump right in, tell us a little bit about your background, your kind of yourself and your journey through entrepreneur land so far.
Sure. So my original, I'm just going to give you the general overview. So people like to say, how have you always been doing what you're doing, right? And I look back, and obviously hindsight 2020, and as early as middle school, it was everything that I do now was almost being channeled through poetry. And so that's really strange. But as I progressed, it was into writing and being an English major. And so from there, I hit a point in my journey personally there's a part of me that was writing about these things is not enough anymore. And so that's when I went to school. I was going to college for English, but then I decided to take a personal training certificate program. And when I did that, I went back to school and I was learning the same things, only in a slower pace format. And I remember asking the question, I was like, how long is it going to take for me to change, to be in a position where I can change someone's life? And they said another 3 years until you graduate. And I said, that makes me want to cry just thinking about it. And I said, that's not okay with me. And so that's when I made sure that I got the certificate program, and I was working in corporate gym. And, once again, it was almost just this general theme of people trying to tell me how I should be doing things. And so, people were charging $50 for a half hour of training. And I was I don't believe in my heart that that's enough to get people physical and mental results, because they're only willing to do one session a week at that price, in that particular area. And I wanted to help, at the time I wanted to help millennials, because those are the people that I feel most people don't invest in personal training until it's too late. Yeah. And so that's when I started my own business, and I literally walked out of corporate gym, and within 1 week I ordered all of my equipment on Amazon Prime, and I had it within the week, because some of it was delivered by giant truck.
Yeah.
But literally I dropped $3,000 and I didn't look back. And I actually had 30 clients that summer.
Wow.
And as crazy as it sounds, I don't suggest that you do this, but I literally went down my Facebook list, and I was listen, this is my mission. This is what I'm doing. I'm really excited to open this place that I've, opened this space for women who have never had this opportunity before. And if you think that you want to try it, I'd really love to have you. And if not, that's totally okay too. I just know that I'm very underground, and I just want to be able to people to know that I exist. And I had 30 responses. Some people didn't answer. Some people, said yeah, and then didn't contact me any further. But I had 30 clients that summer. And so it was I think it was $299 or $399 for 90 days. And it was 24 sessions, which is wow. I think $13 or $14 per session. And I was actually doing them all one-on-one.
Wow.
And so that was a lot of time for me. And from there, I think a lot of people in entrepreneurial land are everything was great from there. And that's actually not what happened. I had, because I was working with millennials, they all went back to college. And so, you know, I had like 2 clients that fall. And so I had a corporate gym contact me. Actually, like they came into my part-time job at Wawa and they were like, oh, we could really use you at this new gym that's opening. And so I went back in there and I broke my foot. So I dropped a giant weight on my foot, and you know, that was kind of like a sign to me, like, no, you're not supposed to be here. I literally, like, they opened and then it was like the next day I was working out on my own, but I still, and so from there, I went into a day job from like 9 to 5, for like 9 months. And so I kept this fitness thing on the back burner, and I had like 2 or 3 clients, and then come like, this was in like November, and then come February, I had a whole new flow of people that were starting to contact me, and I got up to like maybe 15 again. And so come August, I had to quit my job because I had people wanting to come at 10 a.m. and I was like, I can't do that. So, and meanwhile, all this time, I was dating someone new. And the reason that I bring this up is because it's so relevant to my transformation from fitness to mindset. And my boyfriend at the time and now is a recovering addict. And coming from me, like, I am not one of those people who like knows anything. Like, I never knew anything about that stuff. I didn't get wrapped up in the wrong crowd, like none of that stuff. So, I don't think I knew what I was really getting myself into, but in a good way, because, you know, he's a chronic relapser. So he was, you know, in active addiction, like up and down, in and out of rehab for like the last 9 years. And so, you know, obviously, like, as much as I like knew that, I didn't know what that meant for me and like how that was going to change me. And so I was running, you know, this fitness business, and I hit a point where, you know, he was in active addiction, and I was constantly between this, this bobble effect that was like, do I stay or do I go? And, you know, I had people telling me like, you need to go, this isn't good for you. Or like, I understand why you're staying, but like basically just feeling bad for me. Right. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I had this like break, and I'm not going to give like the whole story because obviously it's probably going to be partially part of my talk. But I had this break where I realized that, you know, I wasn't asking myself the right question, right? And I think a lot of us do this, and this is, you know, so much a part of what I do and what I help people with is asking themselves the right questions to move from where they are to where they want to be. And so the question then became, if I decide to stay, who do I have to be? And what is my life going to look like? And not from a place of like, I got to deal with this bullshit, so who do I have to be? It was more like, if I'm going to be who I'm meant to be, and handle this in a way that's going to move my life forward, then like, what does that look like for me? And so I was doing fitness and mindset all along, but you know, I actually had a couple clients sign up with me to do fitness mindset. And it's so funny because what we really ended up working on, they were entrepreneurs, so online. So what we actually ended up working on was their relationship and their business and their fears of visibility and confidence and just all the things that are just really unique to them and have nothing to do with lifting weights.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of where my message really, really came alive. And ever since then, I've been fine-tuning that and really helping people kind of get out of, I hate to say get out of their own way because it's very like cookie cutter, I think, but really ask themselves the right questions and stop using all of these like EFT tapping and journaling and all this shit if it's not working for them. Because at the end of the day, you cannot you can do EFT and you can do journaling and you can do all that stuff and not be critical thinking and not asking yourself the right questions. And so that's where this whole like living your mindset and feeling your mindset thing comes in, because whether you do that stuff or not, I want to make sure that you're doing it effectively for the end result and it feels good to you and it's going to create sustainable results in your business and your life. I hope that answers your question. Yeah. I feel like that came out pretty well.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, it's amazing to see sort of the transformation. And also I think the connection between fitness and mindset is actually very strong there. So I think it completely makes sense how you sort of got to this place. So then tell us a little bit now, like who you work with and how you help people with their mindset and business strategy.
Sure. So I tend to work with intuitive rebel entrepreneurs. So
I love best title ever.
Yeah, right. I work with everyone from like web designers to other mindset coaches to self-love coaches to business coaches, literally other fitness coaches. I worked with all different types of titles. I always tell people the real like mainstay of like who I work with is in how they communicate. Like that is the difference between who I work with and who I don't. I prefer to work with people who are super good communicators in the sense that like if they're working on something and they're frustrated or they're triggered or any of those things, that they tell me, right? Yeah. That they're not people that hold things in. And so that makes it really easy that's the difference between me being able to help them and me not being able to help them. And that's really the only reason why I wouldn't work with someone, because I can, it's about getting people from, let's say I have people come to me who want to take their, 2 and 3 and 4K months to 20K months. Or I have people who, think they want to do that, but really they actually want to completely overhaul their relationship with their significant other. And I think there's this beauty in like having secret agendas that you don't even know about. Because I usually know with my clients right away. But yeah, so I work with an array of different people, but it's mostly about how, if they are a super awesome communicator, or it's not even like they're a super awesome communicator, they decide that they're going to be a super awesome communicator. There's that power of choice. But how I help them is by narrowing in on, I'll listen to them talk. And there's usually like, I don't consider myself super woo, but I'm very extremely intuitive. And I do have these downloads and I'm very comfortable with like understanding my client's energy. And so when they're talking, there's often like these lines that like jump out to me. And I know that I call it, there's energy around it. And it's keeping them from where they want to go, whether that's in business or in life or just both in general. And so I pull out those nuggets, pretty much. I call them nuggets. And we decide why is this jumping out to me? What needs to be done with it? So is it something that we need to understand more? Is it something that we need to be more comfortable with? Is it something that is not true that we believe that we need to kind of reprogram a little bit? Or because sometimes I think most of us, when it comes to traditional mindset work, we think that, I'm getting rid of old thoughts and beliefs and creating new ones. And I'm like, it's a little bit more complicated than that. Because if it was that easy, I'm pretty sure everybody would do it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so it really comes down to like understanding your own reality and behavior in a way that serves you, because like knowing your thoughts and beliefs and then like trying to create new ones is like pretty basic. But I always say, if you want to get profound results, you have to do profound mindset work, in the sense where you have to feel it from your head to your toes. You have to and I'm like shaking as I say this, so but
so it's good. It's good
yeah,
stuff.
yeah. You need to be able to feel everything, and that can be really, really difficult.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of people run from their truth, but you know when it's your truth because, like I said, you feel it from your head to your toes and you're afraid of it and you're being super honest with yourself. Because I always say, like, the only reason that someone couldn't get a breakthrough is if they're defensive about their truth. And so if you can ask yourself the most loaded questions, I always use this as an example because it's like so crazy, is like, why do you hate yourself? Right. And you're like, no, I don't hate myself. Like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, but if you can answer a question like that is so pointed in a negative direction, it's going to be a lot easier for you to answer, you know, because there's always going to be a part of you that is true about, no matter what question it is. So like, that's basically what I help my clients with. And I hold a space for them to be able to answer those questions.
I love it. And it's good work that you do. I can attest to that.
Yeah, that's correct. That's correct. And it keeps getting, I will admit, it just keeps getting better and better and better as I go.
I'm sure. I mean, that happens with all of us, right? The more you hone your skills and tap into it, the better you get at it. So I can only imagine.
Knock some socks off for sure.
Yeah, I love it. So I know you don't want to give it all away, but just a little short snippet of what we can expect to hear from you on stage. Although I feel like a little bit of it we do know already. But you know, a little bit of what you're going to talk about.
Sure. So definitely living and feeling your mindset. But also I'm going to share part of my story and, you know, besides just like how I got here, but like what pieces really, just those pieces in my life that really just completely sent me in a different direction. Because it's actually not something that I talk about a lot because I'm so focused on serving. And so I think it'll be really fun and also interesting to hear like the nitty gritty of it and like the complete like messiness and chaoticness of it.
Yeah.
So obviously that, but I'm also, as much as I'm very, you like to call it like kick ass and holding your hand at the same time or whatever. It'll be fun because when I get in front of a group of people, I tend to be like extra snarky. And so like for some reason, it's like having a group of people around me. I'm like that person, like we talked about this. I'm like the person in the back of the class who's like muttering funny things under their breath. Which is funny because in school it'd probably be annoying, but like on the stage is actually, I imagine it to be very funny. And it's funny because it's like, I feel like my stage presence, and it's funny because I've never been on stage doing a talk, but it's like, I feel like I'm the kind of person that laughs at my own jokes. So I think that will be funny in itself. To see that happen.
I can't wait. I'm like so excited to see you deliver. It's gonna be so fun.
Yeah. So it'll be fun to see my stage lioness come out. But I think that answers your question.
Yeah, totally. I can't wait. And I think also the token mindset girl, and I think that'll be really fun too for people to, you know, you think a little bit differently, you think a little bit abstract. And my favorite thing to do that I've recently learned about myself is to sort of stretch people's brains and to make them think differently. And I think you're really good at doing that too. And so I'm really excited to see sort of minds explode while you're presenting.
Yeah, that's so funny.
No pressure or anything.
I'm envisioning like watermelons being like
like that.
It's like in like Mythbusters or something.
Yeah, that is in Mythbusters.
I will do my absolute best to
reground
it after I blow your minds.
Promises.
Yeah.
All right, last question, which has proven to be the hardest for everybody, is who is one person who's had the biggest impact on your life so far?
Okay, so I'm sorry, but it can't be one. It's like literally a blend of three, which is
fine.
Which is fine.
I'll allow it.
Yeah, right. And that is obviously my boyfriend for what I've went through with addiction.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to the coaching industry and like how I've really stepped into like the balance of my work, that is two very, very different people. And that is Molly Sapp and Lacey Craig.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason that I say those two people is because Molly is the parts that have worked for me so well about her are very analytical and pointed and aggressive versus, and that has made me that brings out the side of me that is very no bullshit. Versus the work that I've done with Lacey Craig has really tuned me into understanding my clients on a super deep and like soulful level. And I think, just like I even say, the two biggest things that I've taken away from working with Lacey, and like I always have mentors because I find that super important for me in my business, but the two things that I've taken away are, asking my clients when it comes to sales and like discovery calls, asking them, does this make sense? I know you've heard me say that a lot. Mm-hmm. And does this feel good to you? And like, that's not something Molly would ever say. I mean, maybe that makes sense part, but so it's funny because I can see the tough part of myself coming from a place that came from my mentorship with Molly, and the very soulful and understanding and in tune with my clients on a deep level from my work with Lacey. And I think the catalyst for all of this was my relationship with an addict. Yeah. And so it's interesting to see. It's really like a triangle for me. Like that is if I had to pick three completely obscure points and put myself in between them, it is those three.
That's kind of cool, though. It's cool to see, even the way you describe it, like how they all sort of overlap and interconnect. And you're like the little brainchild of.
Yeah, well, it's so funny now that I actually think about it. I'm having this download right now, that I'm the youngest child. And so I have an older sister who was very, got through college in 3 years, did everything right, was like, amazing. And then I have a brother who's very sarcastic and funny and just the attention in the room. And my mom always used to say, you're the one who sat back and thought about which parts of them worked for each of them. And so I was like taking notes like as a kid, and being like, well, that didn't work out too well for you now, did it?
I'm the baby too, and I'm exactly the same way, which is kind of funny. I did the exact same thing. I have an older sister and an older brother, and I kind of watched them get in trouble and knew I didn't want to do that, and sort of paved my path from watching that. So it's really funny that you say that. Right? Like I think seeing that happen in my life too.
It's like a natural like adaption factor.
Yeah. Like
it's just this ability to take your environment and like use it to your advantage.
Yeah, totally. I love it. All right. Well, I am so excited. This was so fun. Thank you so much for taking the time and to let us into your world and help us get to know you a little bit better. And I can't wait to see you in April.
Yes, me neither. I can't wait.
I'm so excited. All right. Have a good day.
You too.
Yeah.